Merry Meet! This video is part of the Serpent Psalm series. Psalm 119, when used in the context of claiming the Hermetic Tree, is sometimes known as the Serpent Psalm. This video goes through each of the 22 stanzas, guiding you through each stanza's connection to the Qabalistic Tree. Together we'll uncover the deeper meanings behind each Hebrew letter and its path, following the ascent of the serpent from Tav all the way to Aleph. I hope you enjoy this transformative journey toward greater spiritual understanding. To register for my free course in Hermetic Qabalah, follow the link in the video description. Path 32, Tav, connecting Malkuth, the earth plane, with Yesod, ruled by the moon and the archangel Gabriel. Let my cry come before thee, O Lord. Give me understanding according to thy word. Let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word. My lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. Let thine hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. I have longed for thy salvation, O Lord, and thy law is my delight. Let my soul live, and it shall praise thee, and let thy judgments help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy commandments. Let my cry come near before thee, O Lord. Give me understanding according to thy word. We are acknowledging that we must cry. In other words, that we must start it out. This is our decision to start this journey up the tree. It's not done to us. We have to make that choice, and that's what we're making here. Remember that the Lord in the Psalms is the Tetragrammaton, which for us is a symbol of the infinite creative principle. It is pre-gender, and it is the closest thing to us. It is that which creates us in the moment. The Word of God means the will, and the will of God means the divine design. And the divine design is unique to each person. How the divine design of your life manifests is not going to look necessarily the same as how the divine design manifests for me. Let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word, again to the divine design or the will of God. We will be delivered from the problems of our life according to the divine design, when we no longer are subject to our own ego minds, but instead completely surrendered to our true will. My lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. So that's backwards. In this world, giving precedes receiving. So instead of saying, my lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes, it really is, I will learn your statutes when I utter praise. The lips not only meaning the physical lips that cause a physical voice giving praise, but an internal praise as well. To praise is to acknowledge enthusiastically that something is good. So when you acknowledge that the infinite is good enthusiastically, that automatically allows for you to learn the wisdom. My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. So not only your external speech, but your internal dialogue. We are learning how to discipline our tongue, discipline our words. We understand how charged our words are with magical power, and we are now disciplining our words so that we don't misuse them. Let thine hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. You will be guided, you will be protected, and all will be well. I have longed for thy salvation, O Lord, and thy law is my delight. The solving of any problem, any issue in your life is the will of the infinite. And that's what brings you delight. You get delighted when all of your problems are solved. And actually what happens is you recognize that all of your problems are solved even before you see the evidence of that in the physical world. And that brings you delight. And that delight is the catalyst for the magic. Let my soul live, and it shall praise thee, and let thy judgments help me. To receive the judgments of the infinite is the best thing you can do, because we can't judge for ourselves like the infinite can judge for us, because we don't see clearly. Not yet anyway, but we will. In the meantime, we want the infinite to judge for us. Yes, I want this. No, I don't want this. Yes, I'll keep this. No, I won't keep this. Yes, this is good. No, that's not so good. Those are the judgments we want to be done for us because we don't always judge rightly. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy commandment. If I'm off the path, I want you to come find me. I'm not going to keep straying. I'm going to listen when you guide me back. Path 31, Shin, connecting Malkuth with Hod, Mercury, ruled by the archangel Raphael. Princes have persecuted me without a cause, but my heart standeth in awe of thy word. I rejoice at thy word as one that findeth great spoil. I hate and abhor lying, but thy law do I love. 7 times a day do I praise thee because of thy righteous judgments. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Lord, I have hoped for thy salvation, and done thy commandments. My soul hath kept thy testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I have kept thy precepts and thy testimonies, for all my ways are before thee. So princes have persecuted me without a cause, but my heart standeth in awe of thy word. It doesn't matter how powerful things look in the world. It doesn't matter who says what to who. It doesn't matter how powerful somebody seems in the world. They're nothing compared to the infinite. If your heart, meaning your deep mind, stands in awe of the will of the infinite, then you have nothing to fear. The fear of God means that you have nothing to fear in the world. Now remember, the way that we use our intellect is being purified now so that we can intellectualize things and perceive things properly. We perceive things not with our eyes, but with our minds. I rejoice at thy word as one that findeth great spoil. So to rejoice at the will of the infinite, the divine design, is not only greater than all the riches of the world, but it's what brings you all the riches of the world. The infinite doesn't want to withhold wealth from you. The infinite wants to bring you wealth in a way that's good for you. If you let the infinite be in charge of your, quote, getting, then you just have to receive it. You don't have to go out and figure it out yourself. Because when you try to go figure it out yourself, even if you get what you say you want, it's not going to bring you happiness. When you allow the divine design or the divine will to work on your behalf, happiness is its function for you. I hate and abhor lying, but thy law do I love. Lying is something that's an important part of this path because Mercury, when it's ill aspected, is a planet of lying. We are letting go not only of lies that we have ourselves, but lies that we put up with. When it says I hate and abhor lying, it means I'm disregarding it, I'm turning away from it, I'm not indulging in it. But thy law do I love. When the laws of the infinite are what you want, lying doesn't occur. Lies don't occur because you're putting your allegiance in the right place. 7 times a day do I praise thee because of thy righteous judgments. So to praise the infinite 7 times a day means I'm going to praise all the 7 qualities we see here. Praise your law, praise your truth, praise your spirit, praise you as life itself, praise you as love, praise you as infinite intelligence, praise you as you extend yourself as me, as a soul. I'm going to praise you in all ways. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. If you want peace, you simply have to love the law. And when you love the law of cause and effect, you realize that you don't look to the world of effect for anything. You look to the realm of cause for everything. If there's something that you need, something that you want, something that's not working for you, you don't ask for the things themselves to change. You ask that your mind be changed. It says, and nothing shall offend them. So nothing will offend you because everything that manifests will be perfect for you. Lord, I have hoped for thy salvation and done thy commandments. To hope for the salvation means that you have faith that your problems are solved. And when you do the commandments, that means that you're going to not think all by yourself. You're going to ask and you will follow guidance. You will be guided each and every step of the way, but it's up to you to ask for it and then to follow it. My soul shall keep thy testimonies. I love them exceedingly. When your soul keeps the testimonies, that means that you're going to be inclined that way. You're habitually going to be inclined that way. I'm going to habitually ask for my inner guidance to be showing me what to do. Habitually, I'm going to say, I don't know. Habitually, I'm going to turn to that inner guide within rather than thinking all by myself. I have kept thy precepts and thy testimonies, for all my ways are before thee. And this is putting something in the past tense to make it so faster. This is the way I live my life now. I'm going to listen to thy precepts and testimonies. In other words, I'm going to ask for guidance before I act. Path 30, Resh, connecting Yesod, the moon, ruled by Gabriel, with Hod, Mercury, ruled by Raphael. Consider mine affliction and deliver me, for I do not forget thy law. Plead my cause and deliver me, quicken me according to thy word. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they seek not thy statutes. Great are thy tender mercies, O Lord, quicken me according to thy judgments. Many are my persecutors and mine enemies, yet do I not decline from thy testimonies. I beheld the transgressors and was grieved, because they kept not thy word. Consider how I love thy precepts. Quicken me, O Lord, according to thy loving kindness. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endureth forever. So consider mine affliction and deliver me, for I do not forget thy law. Obviously, if we had all of this worked out, we'd have nothing but perfect manifestations. But we don't have perfect manifestations, so we're asking for help in the affliction. The affliction is not so important how it manifests, because that will take care of itself. What we have to do is take care of it at the realm of cause, what we're feeding to the astral world. It says, deliver me, for I do not forget thy law. When you say, I do not forget thy law, I'm going to remember that. What's important is the realm of cause, not the realm of effect. The realm of effect takes care of itself. If I try to change things in the realm of effect, all I'm doing is wasting time. Plead my cause and deliver me. Quicken me according to thy word. That means raise my vibrations. The more my vibrations are raised on this plane of cause, the more my manifestations are raised. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they seek not thy statutes. So the wicked is the ego mind. The ego mind doesn't think of the statutes of the infinite because it's not programmed to do that. Again, the ego mind is nothing to fear. It's not an entity. It's a habit. It's a habit of thinking that we're separate from the infinite. When we believe that we're separate from the infinite, we try to prove to ourselves and to the world how separate we are. We don't want to do that anymore. That's what the wicked is. Salvation is far from the ego mind, for it seeks not thy statutes. It doesn't know how to. Don't look to the ego to help you, because the ego doesn't understand any of this. It's insane. And you don't want to be trading in insanity anymore. You want righteousness or right-mindedness or sanity. Great are thy tender mercies, O Lord. Quicken me according to thy judgments. So the tender mercies are the solving of the problems that you have. No matter what the problem is, great are thy tender mercies. Quicken me according to thy judgments, meaning if I allow the infinite to judge my mind, judge my thoughts, judge everything in the realm of cause, everything's going to work out for me. Because the infinite will say, oh, you don't want to think like that. You want to think like this. Don't do it like that. Do it like this. That's what judgment is. Many are my persecutors and mine enemies, yet do I not decline from thy testimonies. The reason why you are saying that your persecutors and enemies are great is because in the realm of the ego, it seems like the ego's thought forms are legion. It just seems like there's never-ending reasons why nothing could ever possibly work out for you. That's why you don't listen to the ego, because it's just a bunch of tapes going over and over and over again. And it does seem like there's a lot of them, but if you really did listen to it, which I don't recommend that you do, but if you did, it's really just a rehashing of the same few things over and over again, spoken of in different ways. It's really boring after a while. So we're going to turn away from those ego tapes. We're not doing that anymore. Yet do I not decline from thy testimonies. That means you turn away from the tapes of the ego and listen instead to that inner guidance. I beheld the transgressors and was grieved, because they kept not thy word. When you behold what the ego mind does inside your mind, what its whole purpose and function is, it is very grievous. And of course you're grieved, but then you hold grievances. So that's why you don't want to bother with it. You don't even want to worry about it. You don't want to behold those things. Instead, you keep the word. You listen to that inner guidance. Consider how I love thy precepts. Quicken me, O Lord, according to thy loving kindness. The reason why it's important to remind yourself that you love listening to your inner guide is because you recognize that when you listen to your inner guide, your vibration is automatically raised. And then all of your manifestations are raised as well. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endureth forever. This is the happily ever after that you are allowed to have. And this happens in the moment. So right now, this is happening for you. Right now, all of your manifestations are getting an overhaul because you are learning to work within this realm of cause and allow yourself to be guided and led each and every step of the way. And you can't help but have wonderful manifestations as a result of this, no matter what else is going on around you outside. It doesn't matter what anybody's doing, what anybody's saying, doesn't matter what the news is, nothing matters. The only thing that matters is the realm of cause is now being cleansed by the infinite, and therefore all of your manifestations will be as well. Path 29, Koph, connecting Malkuth, the earth plane, with Netzach, Venus, ruled by Anael. I cried with my whole heart, hear me, O Lord, I will keep thy statutes. I cried unto thee, save me, and I shall keep thy testimonies. I prevented the dawning of the morning, and I cried. I hoped in thy word. Mine eyes prevent the night watches, that I might meditate in thy word. Hear my voice according to thy loving kindness, O Lord. Quicken me according to thy judgment. They draw nigh that follow after mischief, for they are far from thy law. Thou art near, O Lord, and all thy commandments are truth. Concerning thy testimonies, I have known of old that thou hast founded them forever. It's putting a lot of this in the past tense in order for it to happen more quickly. It says, I cried with my whole heart, hear me, O Lord, I will keep thy statutes. So to cry with your whole heart means that my deep mind is habituated to call out to you. By the time we get to this path, it's starting to become a habit for us to call out for help rather than to try to figure it out first. I cried unto thee, save me, and I shall keep thy testimonies. The salvation is inherent in the calling out, but I have to be the one to take the first step, and I'm going to listen to the guidance. I've asked for guidance, I'm receiving guidance, I'm going to listen to guidance. I prevented the dawning of the morning, and I cried, I hoped in thy word. If you put your hands over your eyes on a sunny day, that doesn't mean that you made the sun go out. So if you've prevented the dawning of the morning, it means that you've decided not to look at it. So don't do that. You don't need to cover your eyes. What you need to do instead is hope in the word, meaning have faith in the will of the infinite. Have faith in that divine design, that it knows what it's doing. It says, mine eyes prevent the night watches, that I might meditate in thy word. But you don't have to worry about what's going on outside of you. You just know that if your eye is single to the will of the universe, all is well. So don't be distracted by the things that are going on outside of you. Hear my voice according to thy loving kindness, O Lord, quicken me according to thy judgment. Again, raise my vibration through your judgment. You're going to be able to tell me which things in the sensual world I should keep, and how to look at things in the sensual world, and how no longer to be kept prisoner by my ego. They draw nigh that follow after mischief. They are far from thy law. It's a big thing on this particular path. A lot of people get stuck on this part of their journey. They don't understand that the sensual world is not their teacher, but the sensual world can be their gift. But if you look to the sensual world to tell you what you need and tell you what's good and all of that, you're going to be fooled. But if you listen to your inner guide, Then you can learn how to purify the relationship with the sensual world so that your senses then become filled with good things. But you're not listening to them for guidance. You are receiving the guidance, and therefore your senses reflect that. Thou art near, O Lord, and all thy commandments are truth. There's nothing more near than the infinite. The infinite is the closest thing that you have. You and the infinite are one, and now we're recognizing this. There's no God off far in the distance. It's making your heart beat right now and loves you very much and knows what to do with your sensual nature, knows how you're going to be happy with that. Doesn't want you to get rid of your sensual nature. That's not the point here, but it's to not listen to it as your guide. Instead, to receive the sensual nature of the infinite as a gift. Concerning thy testimonies, I have known of old that thou hast founded them forever. The way that the universe works is the same now as it was eons ago, and it's never going to change. The way that the laws work are always going to stay the same. So if you listen to the infinite's guidance, if you listen to your inner guide, you will always be on the right path, and you're not going to delay anymore like you've been doing up until this point. Path 28. Tzaddi, connecting Yesod, the moon ruled by Gabriel, with Netzach, Venus ruled by Anael. Righteous art thou, O Lord, and upright are thy judgments. Thy testimonies that thou hast commanded are righteous and very faithful. My zeal hath consumed me, because mine enemies have forgotten thy words. Thy word is very pure, therefore thy servant loveth it. I am small and despised, yet I do not forget thy precepts. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Trouble and anguish have taken a hold on me, yet thy commandments are my delights. The righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live. So, righteous art thou, O Lord, and upright are thy judgments. The infinite already is in its right mind. The infinite already is sane. The infinite doesn't have an ego. And so the infinite's only going to bring us to our right mind or our righteousness. Thy testimonies that thou hast commanded are righteous and very faithful. When we listen to our inner guidance, we are going to be brought into our right mind, especially in regards to the sensual nature of our being. Again, we're not trying to get rid of sensuality. We're trying to raise its vibration so that it can be used for its function rather than as a distraction. My zeal hath consumed me, because mine enemies have forgotten thy words. Where it says, mine enemies have forgotten thy words, each time something comes up for us where we realize, oh, I'm not listening to the infinite, I'm not listening to my guide, when we notice that, we get enthusiastic about it, rather than saying, oh, I always do that. Instead, we say, oh, goody, I found another place where I'm not listening. Imagine how much better things are going to be now. So we get enthusiastic about it. Every time we find something that's not working, that wakes us up, and it reminds us to ask for guidance. And every time we ask for guidance, our thought forms within this astral realm become amazing, and we have even better and better results. So enthusiasm here. Thy word is very pure, therefore thy servant loveth it. So it's very easy to understand and listen and follow the guidance that's given to us through our inner guide. I am small and despised, yet do I not forget thy precepts. When we say small and despised, that's a very old-fashioned way of depicting humility. It's somewhat self-deprecating in the way it's stated here, but that's not the intention. The idea is that I'm not my ego. I'm not arrogant. That's not who I really am. My soul has nothing to do with that. Since I'm listening to the infinite and I'm giving it free rein, I'm giving it right of way, I no longer have to worry about what to do with my ego. It's handling it for me. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Isn't that wonderful? No matter what, it's always going to get better and better for me, because I keep understanding things more and more. I keep being purified more and more. I'm not losing my sensual nature. I'm having it raised. It's so fabulous. all of my senses delight in the new manifestations that are the will of the infinite rather than something that my ego has conjured up. Trouble and anguish have taken hold on me, yet thy commandments are my delights. The trouble and anguish are the things that we are letting go of. And it's important for us when those things come up, when we're working on any of these paths, that our only function is to declare that we don't want to keep those things. We don't have to know what to do with trouble and anguish. We just have to know, I don't want that. That's not what I want. And it will be taken from us. The righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, so I shall live. You're going to understand that you are an eternal being that is not subject to death. Your soul does not die. And when you understand that, you come into righteousness, right-mindedness. You're no longer afraid of things, because our biggest fear is the fear of death. And once you're no longer afraid of death, you're no longer afraid of any other things anymore. And that's a very healthy, sane place to live. Path 27, Pe, connecting Hod, Mercury, ruled by Raphael, and Netzach, Venus, ruled by Anael. Thy testimonies are wonderful, therefore doth my soul keep them. The entrance of thy words giveth light, it giveth understanding unto the simple. I opened my mouth and panted, for I longed for thy commandments. Look thou upon me, and be merciful unto me, as thou usest to do unto those that love thy name. Order my steps in thy word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me. Deliver me from the oppression of man, so I will keep thy precepts. Make thy face to shine upon thy servant, and teach me thy statutes. Rivers of waters run down mine eyes, because they kept not thy law. Thy testimonies are wonderful, therefore doth my soul keep them. Listening to that inner guidance at every turn is wonderful, and that's all we're going to do now. The entrance of thy words giveth light, it giveth understanding unto the simple. It lights our mind, it brings us joy and sanity, it solves our problems. I opened my mouth and panted, for I longed for thy commandments. Once you get used to this work, you don't want to think all by yourself anymore. You can't wait to get the next bit of wisdom. You can't wait to get the direction, because you know it's only going to bring you more joy. Look thou upon me, and be merciful unto me, as thou usest to do unto those that love thy name. The name of something is its nature. So the names of the infinite that we're dealing with here are infinite love and infinite intelligence. On a human level, it's what the intellect does with the sensual world. You can see that this path, when it's used by the ego, is pretty dangerous, because you can get really lost in conceptualizing over the sensual world. But when the infinite gets a hold of it, boy, it's a whole different thing for us. Look thou upon me, and be merciful unto me, as thou usest to do unto those that love thy name. When you love the qualities of the infinite, you automatically raise your consciousness. You're no longer thinking all by yourself, therefore your ego no longer has access to these things. Instead, the infinite has access to them, and therefore infinite intelligence and infinite love bring that sensual experience up to such a level you don't understand what pleasure can be until you experience the infinite's understanding of the sensual world. Order my steps in thy word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me. One step at a time. What do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? There's nothing too small that you can ask for guidance on. That's to order thy steps in thy word, the will of the infinite. I want to know each and every step that I take today, everything that I say, no matter what it is, everything that I do, everything that I think, I want guidance. And let not any iniquity have dominion over me. The ego can't have dominion over you if you are choosing to use your mind in this way. Because remember, the ego is a habit of thinking, and you now are doing a new kind of thinking. So you're no longer beholden to those old ego ideas. Deliver me from the oppression of man, so I will keep thy precepts. The oppression of man is the oppression that every single person experiences who is subject to their ego mind. It does oppress us. That's its function, is to oppress. But we don't have to be subject to its oppression because we have control over our mind, and we are exercising that control now. Make thy face to shine upon thy servant and teach me thy statutes. You are a servant of the Lord because you are asking to be guided. I'm a servant, meaning show me what to do and I'll do it. The reason you want to serve the Lord is not because you're going to be doing chores that are just so hard and then the Lord will benefit from it. It's you're going to be a servant of the Lord because the Lord is showing you what to do so that you'll be happy, because that's what the Lord wants for you. Rivers of water run down mine eyes because they kept not thy law. It would all be so funny if it wasn't so tragic. Yes, it's very easy to be ashamed or sad or distraught when you realize how much time you've wasted and how many years you've wasted. And oh gosh, I could have been so much farther along. Don't do that to yourself. Just let it be the way it is. Everything's perfect just the way it is. There's no such thing as the wrong time. You're in good hands. Path 26, Ayin, connecting Hod, Mercury, ruled by Raphael, with Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Michael. I have done judgment and justice. Leave me not to mine oppressors. Be surety for thy servant for good. Let not the proud oppress me. Mine eyes fail for thy salvation and for the word of thy righteousness. Deal with thy servant according unto thy mercy, and teach me thy statutes. I am thy servant, give me understanding, that I may know thy testimonies. It is time for thee, Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. Therefore I love thy commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. Therefore I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way. This is the path of alchemy, Mercury and the sun, gold and Mercury. I have done judgment and justice. Leave me not to mine oppressors. When you say I've done judgment and justice, that means I've listened. I've listened and allowed you to judge me so that your justice can prevail. And that's why you no longer have to worry about your so-called oppressors, meaning your ego mind, because it's been taken care of for you. You don't have to do anything about it. It's been taken care of. You just have to do your part, and your part is to listen and to follow guidance. Be surety for thy servant for good. Let not the proud oppress me. Again, I'm going to be the student. I'm not going to try to be the leader here. I'm going to be the follower. I'm going to step back and let you show me, and I'm going to do what you tell me to do. And that's not because I'm stupid and bad and insignificant. It's because I've been trained poorly by my ego, so I don't know what to do. But you're going to show me, you're going to teach me, and I'm going to learn. Mine eyes fail for thy salvation and for the word of thy righteousness. Your eyes fail, meaning you don't know what things mean by yourself. You can't trust your eyes. Your eyes don't have vision. They only have sight. They only have worldly sight. But you're going to obtain vision by doing this work. Your inner sight will be opened, and that's going to happen. That's the word of thy righteousness, the will for your right-mindedness. The infinite's will for your right-mindedness is fulfilled, then your inner sight does open up, and you will see the truth. Deal with thy servant according unto thy mercy, and teach me thy statutes. Again, I am the student, you're the teacher. This is intellect, this is the solar light. So let the solar light teach the intellect, rather than the intellect running amok all on its own. It is time for thee, Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. Yeah, it's time for you to work. I'm not going to work. I'm going to let you do it. That's what the infinite wants, is for you not to do it. You need to do nothing. You need to receive. You need to learn. But you don't need to do the work. Let the infinite do the work. It knows what it's doing. Therefore, I love thy commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. Again, the alchemist's path. Not only are you, first and foremost, turning the base metals of your intellect into gold, But as a result of that, by the time they manifest, you also are turning base metals in the physical world into gold. Your manifestations also get an upgrade. Therefore I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right. I hate every false way. We don't know what's right. We don't know what's true all by ourselves, but we're learning. We're willing to be shown. We're willing to be taught, and we will know. But in the meantime, we have a guide. I hate every false way. It means I'm going to turn away from every false way. I'm going to let you show me the way. I'm only going to look to you. Path 25, Samekh. Connecting Yesod, the moon, ruled by Gabriel, with Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Michael. I hate vain thoughts, but thy law do I love. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word. Depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my God. Uphold me according unto thy word, that I may live, and let me not be ashamed of my hope. Hold thou me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto thy statutes continually. Thou hast trodden down all them that err from thy statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. Thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore I love thy testimonies. My flesh trembleth for fear of thee. I am afraid of thy judgments. I hate vain thoughts, but thy law do I love. I'm going to turn away from my vain thoughts, my own unguided thinking, and I'm going to instead turn toward the law of cause and effect. I have to get my mind in order. My world will get in order as a result of my mind being in order. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word. I have faith in the will of the universe. I have faith in the will of the infinite. And the infinite's will is that I be safe and happy. And therefore I don't have to worry. If I put my faith in your will, I don't have to worry about things in the world. Depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my God. Now you're in this place where you have command over things. To be able to say to all of your thoughts that are egoic in nature, depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my God. I'm disregarding you. You have no power here. Be gone. I'm listening instead only to the infinite. I'm listening to my inner guidance. Uphold me according unto thy word, that I may live, and let me not be ashamed of my hope. So any shame that you have is dissolved here. You don't have to be ashamed that you have faith in the infinite. You don't have to be ashamed that you have faith in the divine law. You don't have to be ashamed that you have faith in the divine design. Uphold me according unto thy word. The word again is the will. The will of the infinite is that you be upheld, that you be lifted up, that I may live. At this point, you're starting to understand the law of life itself. You're starting to understand that you're not subject to death. The soul doesn't die. You're no longer afraid of death. And when you're not afraid of death, you're not afraid of anything. Hold thou me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto thy statutes continually. You are being held up in safety, and all you have to do is listen. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything. Thou hast trodden down them that err from thy statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. And again, you don't have to do anything about your ego. You don't have to fight your ego. You don't have to kill your ego. You don't have to transcend your ego. You don't have to do anything with your ego. You turn away from those habits called the ego and turn instead to that inner guidance, and it'll take care of the ego for you. Thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore I love thy testimonies. The wicked of the earth are the manifestations based upon those old ego thought forms. They're gone. They're going to be gone. They're putting away, meaning dissolved, gone away, not part of your life anymore. So of course you love the testimonies. The more you listen to the infinite's testimonies, the more you allow yourself to be guided, the more the manifestations in your life change, and the more wonderful everything is. My flesh trembleth for fear of thee, and I am afraid of thy judgments. Now this is a wonderful path for the fear of God. Remember, the fear of God simply means ecstasy. You are in absolute ecstasy when you understand this, and you no longer are afraid of anything in the world because you have what they call the fear of God, which is not fear, but awe. And the more awestruck you are by how powerful the infinite is, the less fear that you are prone to in the physical world. Path 24, Nun, connecting Netzach, Venus, ruled by Anael, with Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Michael. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I have sworn, and I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous judgments. I am afflicted very much. Quicken me, O Lord, according unto thy word. Accept, I beseech thee, the freewill offerings of my mouth, O Lord, and teach me thy judgments. My soul is continually in my hand, yet do I not forget thy law. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. Thy testimonies have I taken as an heritage forever, for they are the rejoicing of my heart. I have inclined mine heart to perform thy statutes alway, even unto the end. It says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a guide unto my path. The word is the will. You are guided each and every step of the way. You don't have to worry about anything. You are guided and led. I have sworn, and I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous judgments. The right-mindedness is the righteousness. When you have that experience of infinite life with infinite love, your sensual experience is really starting to get lifted. This is your experience of the sensual world here. And we don't want to get rid of your experience of the sensual world, but we do want it purified so that you have the sensual world working for you rather than against you. I am afflicted very much. Quicken me, O Lord, according unto thy word. You're afflicted by the sensuality to the degree that you listen to it as your guide. And instead, you're asking for the vibrations to be raised so that it becomes your gift rather than your guide. Accept, I beseech thee, the free will offerings of my mouth, O Lord, and teach me thy judgments. The free will offerings of your mouth are praise and gratitude. The more praise and gratitude you show, the quicker you get these benefits. And it says, teach me thy judgments. It really means judge for me. Judge for me. I don't want to judge for myself. Sometimes we judge and we say, oh, that's probably bad. And if we had asked, the infinite would say, no, that's not bad. Let's just look at it a different way. A lot of times we look at something and we say, oh, that's good. And if we would ask, the infinite would say, I understand what you're trying to get, but there's a better way to get that. Let me show you how. So we want the judgments. My soul is continually in my hand, yet do I not forget thy law. To have your soul in your hand is the doing. Your hand is how you do things. Your soul here is your deep mind. So you do things based on what you believe. You do things based on what your deepest beliefs are. My soul is continually in my hand, yet do I not forget thy law. When you don't forget the law of cause and effect, you allow your thinking to be cleansed so that your sensual experiences become different. They become a gift rather than something that you are always bowing down to. What you're doing with your sensuality then becomes a very different experience than what it was before. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. The wicked laying a snare for you is just how the ego works. That's just how the ego operates. It's a tricky, cunning, baffling habit that we got into a long, long time ago. And you're never going to outsmart it, but the infinite will. That's why you don't want to try to overcome your own ego. You let that be taken care of for you. Thy testimonies have I taken as an heritage forever, for they are the rejoicing of my heart. Your heritage is your inheritance. You get to receive in your sensual nature all the gifts that the universe has for you. Again, you're not trying to overcome your sensuality. You're allowing the infinite to redefine it for you so that it's actual pleasure now. Because what we have in this world is things mixed up. A lot of the things that we think are pleasurable are actually painful, but we're believing our egos when it's gaslighting us, saying, oh no, that feels good. That feels good. And that's why addictions are so tricky, is because the ego keeps saying, no, that feels good. Yeah, it does. And so now instead, we're allowing the infinite to restructure things so that we actually know what pleasure feels like. That is your heritage. That is your inheritance. And you want to receive your entire inheritance. And one of the big inheritances that you get is pleasure. Real, honest to goodness pleasure. And when you feel pleasure for the first time, you'll think, oh, I thought I knew what felt good. Wow, this is different. This is wonderful. And that's what you get to look forward to. I have inclined my heart to perform thy statutes always, even unto the end. To incline your heart means I'm habituated to it. This is going to be my new normal now. Listening to guidance. Listening to guidance. Asking. Path 23, Mem, connecting Hod, Mercury, ruled by Raphael, with Geburah, Mars, ruled by Samael. Oh, how I love thy law! It is my meditation all the day. Thou, through thy commandments, hast made me wiser than mine enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients, because I keep thy precepts. I have refrained my feet from every evil way, that I might keep thy word. I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me. How sweet are thy words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Oh, how I love thy law, it is my meditation all the day. Remember, the law of cause and effect. We're not putting the realm of effect as our God anymore. We're not putting any created thing as our God. Our God is in the invisible realm of cause. When you say that it's my meditation day and night and that you love this law, it means it. The more you recognize that, the more you meditate on the fact that the infinite is the creator, then you've given yourself the pathway to happiness in the physical world. It's wonderful. Thou, through thy commandments, hast made me wiser than mine enemies, for they are ever with me. Your ego's not going away. Not until we don't live in this world anymore. But you don't need to kill it. You don't need to have it go away. You don't need to do anything but disregard it. Because you are wiser than your enemies because you're listening to the infinite. You're asking the infinite for guidance. You're asking your inner teacher for guidance rather than listening to the ego. You're listening to your inner guide. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation. No matter who in the physical world is your teacher or guru or any of that, they are as nothing compared to what your inner teacher is. You have access to infinite wisdom, no matter what. You don't have to study necessarily all these different teachers out there in the world to understand things as well as you can understand coming from the source itself, which is who you have inside you right now, the teacher. I have refrained my feet from every evil way that I may keep thy word. The way you do that is to listen and to be guided step by step by step, choosing each and every step to be guided. I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me. As you're taught and judged, your life starts to take off. Things start to really change. You get happier, you get wealthier, wiser, healthier, saner, happier. All the good things happen as you allow yourself to be taught. How sweet are thy words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Not only are the words that you're hearing from this inner teacher sweeter than honey, but because of what you're learning, your thought forms are sweeter, which means your manifestations will be sweeter. So not only are the ideas wonderful, but the manifestations will reflect that wonderfulness. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. By listening to our inner guide, we understand things better. And so we can turn away from our bitterness and our grievances and our hostilities and the way we come up with ideas about things and people, how we get so upset about every little thing. We don't have to do that anymore because everything is so sweet and so wonderful now. Path 22, Lamed, connecting Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Mikael, with Geburah, Mars, ruled by Samael. Forever, O Lord, thy word is settled in heaven. The faithfulness is unto all generations. Thou hast established the earth, and it abideth. They continue this day according to thine ordinances, for all are thy servants. Unless thy law had been my delights, I should have perished in mine affliction. I will never forget thy precepts, for with them thou hast quickened me. I am thine, save me, for I have sought thy precepts. The wicked have waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider thy testimonies. I have seen an end of all perfection, but thy commandment is exceeding broad. Forever, Lord, thy word is settled in heaven. Forever is now. When the word is settled in heaven, that means the infinite's will is done. There's no voting. It is what it is. Gravity is gravity, whether you like it or not. Thermodynamics is thermodynamics, whether you like it or not. The law of cause and effect is the law of cause and effect, and that's how it works. Whether you like it or not, it's the way it is. So it's settled. Thy faithfulness is unto all generations. Thou hast established the earth, and it abideth. Now, the earth, according to what was created for us, is different than our miscreation. So the infinite's already given you a perfect life. The infinite's already given you perfect manifestations and a way to manifest what you want in a wonderful way. The fact that we've gotten into the habit of using our ego minds to miscreate is not the fault of the infinite, and it's not the will of the infinite, but it is our right to do. They continue this day according to thine ordinances, for all are thy servants. So everybody's the servant of the Lord because everybody was created by the infinite. But to serve the infinite means to do the divine will rather than listening to the will of your ego mind. Everybody's true will is going to look different from everybody else's. Unless thy law had been my delights, I should have perished in mine affliction. Once you realize that the law of cause and effect is in effect at all times, you don't worry about the world anymore. You realize what a waste of time that is, trying to fix the world. We say it's like rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic as it's sinking. It's pointless. It's a waste of time. Instead, you go to the realm of cause and allow things to work out according to the law. I will never forget thy precepts, for with them thou hast quickened me. I'm not going to forget to listen to your guidance each and every moment. I'm going to ask for it and listen to it and follow it. And that's how my vibrations are raised. And when we raise our vibrations, no longer are we all about anger, grievance, and selfishness. We are then raised to eternal life through spirit. I am thine, save me, for I have sought thy precepts. You belong to the infinite. To the ego that's like, I don't belong to anybody, no. But to the soul, it's thank goodness I belong to the infinite. Because the infinite will never leave me, will always protect me, will always be there for me. The infinite's there for me. And so I want the infinite to be there for me. I want to belong to the infinite. Save me, for I have sought thy precepts. So to save me means to acknowledge that all of my problems have already been solved, and I'm going to listen to guidance so that I can clean up my thinking so that my manifestations change. The wicked have waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider thy testimonies. The wicked waiting to destroy you are all of your ego habit forms, all of your ego habits and thought forms. The ego is there to prove to you that you're separate. So it's going to always have a thought form such as, you're not good enough. You are bad. Nothing ever works for you. Everything's hard. You're here to struggle. You're here for pain, etc., etc., etc. That's just how it is. So as long as you allow that to be the cause in your world, then those are going to be the effects in your world. That's the wicked waiting to destroy you. But I will consider thy testimonies. My ego can wait all it wants because I'm not listening. I'm listening only to the infinite. I'm listening to my inner guidance. I have seen an end of all perfection, but thy commandment is exceedingly broad. You think you know what perfection is. You think you know what's going to be good. I know what's going to be perfect. It's going to look like this, and it's going to look like that. But you only see things right now from the eyes. You haven't opened up your inner sight yet. And so you're finite about what you can see. But the infinite is infinite. The infinite's ideas for you are ideas that you wouldn't even know how to come up with. You're recognizing the best is yet to come because I don't even know what's available to me yet. Path 21, Koph, connecting Netzach, Venus, ruled by Anael, and Chesed, Jupiter, ruled by Sachiel. My soul fainteth for thy salvation, but I hope in thy word. Mine eyes fail for thy word, saying, when wilt thou comfort me? For I am become like a bottle in the smoke, yet do I not forget thy statutes. How many are the days of thy servant? When wilt thou execute judgment on them that persecute me? The proud have digged pits for me, which are not after thy law. All the commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. They had almost consumed me upon earth, but I forsook not thy precepts. Quicken me after thy loving kindness, so I shall keep the testimony of thy mouth. My soul fainteth for thy salvation, but I hope in thy word. To faint means to succumb to surrender to. And your soul means your deep mind. My deep mind is surrendering to salvation, meaning the solving of any problems, the way out of any pain or problem. But I hope in thy word, and thy word is thy law. So the law of the infinite is for us to be saved, is for us to have all of our problems solved. Mine eyes fail for thy word, saying, when wilt thou comfort me? So the eyes, again, are not open. We don't have our inner sight yet. We don't have the vision of the spirit. We only have the sight of the world. When we look at things, we don't always see the whole picture. When we are relying on our senses only to show us things, we are missing the point. For I am become like a bottle in the smoke, yet do I not forget thy statutes. A bottle in the smoke, a leather wine sack hanging in a smoky room, drying and shriveling up due to the constant exposure to the smoke and the heat. And this is a representation of hardship, distress, being worn down, difficult circumstances, etc., usually something to do with the sense world. Yet do I not forget thy statutes. So no matter what the problem seems to be, if you remember to listen to your guidance, that will change. Because you're creating new thought forms to replace the old thought forms, which are always going to bring you new results. How many are the days of thy servant? When wilt thou execute judgment on them that persecute me? When will this happen? When is all this going to work out for me? That's one of the ways that we put the brakes on our progress. The answer is right now. If you want it, it's here for you now. You don't have to wait. The proud have digged pits for me, which are not after thy law. Of course the ego's digging pits for you. That's the whole idea of the ego. The ego wants you to fail. The ego wants you dead. The ego wants to prove that it's right. But the ego is nothing but a habit. It has no power over you. All thy commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. So the commandments, meaning listening to that inner guidance at each and every turn, will always show you what to do. And you don't have to worry about the ego anymore. You don't have to worry about problems anymore. It's all being taken care of, but it's up to you to ask and to listen. They had almost consumed me upon earth, but I forsook not thy precepts. Again, using the past tense to make things happen more quickly. When you feel like you're being consumed on the earth, you have one thing to do. Ask for guidance, and you will be delivered immediately. Quicken me after thy loving kindness, so I shall keep the testimony of thy mouth. We hear it directly from the mouth of the Infinite. The testimony of the mouth of the Infinite is all the truth about us. Everything that's not the testimony from the mouth of the Infinite isn't real, and it's what we want to let go of. The whole purpose of rising up this tree is to let go of the attachments to that which is not real. So quicken me after thy loving kindness, raise my vibrations to resemble you. What we're resembling is the nature of the Infinite to be merciful, to be loving, to be kind. Quicken me after thy loving kindness, so I shall keep the testimony of thy mouth. That's the only thing that we want to do now, is to keep the testimony of the mouth of the Infinite. We want to know and we want to iterate every truth that we understand. Path 20, Yud. Connecting Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Mikael, with Chesed, Jupiter, ruled by Sachiel. Thy hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn thy commandments. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word. I know, O Lord, that thy judgments are right, and that thou in faithfulness hath afflicted me. Let, I pray thee, thy merciful kindness be for my comfort, according to thy word unto thy servant. Let thy tender mercies come unto me, that I may live, for thy law is my delight. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause, but I will meditate in thy precepts. Let those that fear thee turn unto me, and those that have known thy testimonies. Let my heart sound in thy statutes, that I be not ashamed. Thy hands have made me and fashioned me. You're recognizing you didn't create yourself, and you didn't create the Infinite. The Infinite created you. But that's the only difference between you and the Creator, that it created you and you didn't create it. You still have all the powers of the Creator. You're still the same spirit as the Creator. Give me understanding that I may learn thy commandments. When you are asking for guidance so that you can learn how to use your powers, you learn how to become a god in your own right. You're taking God lessons here. You're taking lessons in adeptship. Being a god is exactly what the Infinite wants for you. That's what you were created to be. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word. You are going to experience the ecstasy of the presence of the Infinite, and you're going to be glad because you're having faith in the will of the Infinite. And this is a way to bring your thoughts together and to get rid of those thoughts that don't have that understanding. I know, O Lord, that thy judgments are right, and that thou in faithfulness hast afflicted me. When we say that in faithfulness the Lord has afflicted you, that means that sometimes there's a sting when things are judged. It says, O Lord, that thy judgments are right. They're right, but sometimes they sting. When you first go into rehab, it doesn't feel good, even though it's probably a smart idea. When you first give up smoking, didn't feel good for me. Not for a long time. I wanted the cigarette. It does sting sometimes when the judgments are executed. It's not that the pain is good. The pain is our letting go of the attachment to the thing, which is not healthy for us. Let, I pray thee, thy merciful kindness be for my comfort, according to thy word unto thy servant. Merciful kindness is what rules this sphere, Chesed. We are finding eternal life here. As we allow for these judgments to occur, it's for our comfort. The Infinite wants us to be comfortable and happy and safe, filled with joy and freedom. Let thy tender mercies come upon me, that I may live, for thy law is my delight. Eternal life is what we get, because we understand that the soul is eternal. The soul doesn't die. Death is something that happens in this world, and that's a misperception. We misperceive things here. Death is here because of our own misunderstanding. We can't figure that out right now, but we will understand it once we allow our minds to be cleansed. When it says, thy law is my delight, the law of cause and effect is your delight, because the more you allow the causative principle within your mind to be purified, the more you have experiences of that, and they are delightful. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause, but I will meditate in thy precepts. The ego doesn't need a reason. The ego is unreasonable. It doesn't need a reason why it's doing what it's doing. It's doing what it's doing because it's insane. You can't escape from this insanity all by yourself. You have to allow yourself to be helped. As you're being helped, you will allow the infinite to take care of the ego for you as you focus on that inner guidance. Let those that fear thee turn unto me, and those that have known thy testimonies. All of the thoughts in your mind that are in alignment with the will of the infinite are now coming together. And your mind is coming together. And that's what righteousness is, when you have togetherness in your mind. And anything that's not part of those thoughts is then cast away. Let my heart be sound in thy statutes, that I be not ashamed. Your heart being sound in the statutes means I'm habituated to it. It's my habitual, deep mind thought patterns to listen to your guidance. So first thing I do is go for guidance. That's my habit. And I never have to worry about anything anymore, because that's how I've set things up now, is to always ask for help, always ask for guidance. And that's why I don't have to worry about shame. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I have nothing to be ashamed of. The only time that I'm ashamed is when I let the ego tell me how ashamed I should be. But that doesn't happen to me anymore, because I'm habituated to listen to the inner voice of the spirit within me. Path 19, Tet, connecting Geburah, Mars, ruled by Samael, with Chesed, Jupiter, ruled by Sachiel. Thou hast dealt with thy servant, O Lord, according unto thy word. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I have kept thy word. Thou art good, and doest good. Teach me thy statutes. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep thy precepts with my whole heart. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in thy law. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. The law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. Thou hast dealt well with thy servant, O Lord, according unto thy word. The infinite always deals well with you. The word is the will. It is the will of the infinite to deal well with you. And the reason why you're the servant is because you're the student. Think of servant meaning student. You're the student. You're not the master, you're the student, you're the pupil. And that's an okay thing to be. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, because I'm listening to your guidance. I'm listening to your guidance. I'm listening to the truth of you. Instead of listening to my grievances, which is the lower expression of this, I'm listening to this spirit within me that knows I'm invincible, that I have nothing to fear. I'm listening to the truth, and I'm being taught by it. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I have kept thy word. So before I was listening to my ego all the time, because that's all I knew how to do. But now I've learned I don't do that anymore. I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that. I have habituated myself now to listen only to you. Thou art good and doest good. Teach me thy statutes. The statutes that we are being asked to learn are the statutes of that which is good. And that's what God means. God means good. So when you praise God, you're simply praising that which is good. And there's so much good in your life right now. That good will seemingly magnify again and again. It's not that it's magnifying it, because there is already infinite good, but you're not realizing it, you're not experiencing it, because you have allowed your ego mind to run amok. But now that you're learning not to do that, your manifestations will continue to improve. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep thy precepts with my whole heart. Your whole heart is your habitual mind. You're going to keep asking for guidance and following that guidance out of habit, as we said before, even though the ego has forged a lie against you. What's the ego's lie? I'm separate from my creator. That's the big lie right there. You're not. Now you're knowing that it's a lie. Any other idea that comes out of that is now also being tagged as a lie, and you're no longer subject to it. It doesn't bother you anymore. You're getting to the point where you're just not listening. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in thy law. The ego is habitually arrogant. That's what it is. It's an arrogant thought form. And we don't sometimes remember that it's arrogant to think we're not good enough. It's arrogant to think that we're bad. It's arrogant to think that we're insignificant. It's arrogant to think that we're evil or whatever the ego comes up with. Those are arrogant thoughts. It's humble to recognize, no, I didn't create myself. The infinite created me, and he created me perfect. With no mistakes, no errors. The infinite doesn't make junk, didn't say oops when it made me. I'm perfect the way I was created. That's not arrogant. That's humble. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. I'm glad that I don't have all of these old ideas of what I thought was comfortable before. The ego really had me snowed. It had me hypnotized into thinking that misery was comfort, that pain was pleasure. It had everything upside down. I'm so glad I'm not listening to that nonsense anymore. The law of thy mouth is better unto me than the thousands of gold and silver. So it's better for you to have the wealth of the infinite in its laws than for you to go searching after gold and silver. But I'll tell you something, knowing that and having this cleaned up manifests the wealth of Chesed in your physical world in a new and wonderful way. So all of that gold and silver that you thought was going to bring you happiness still comes to you. It's just that you no longer look to it for your good. You look to the infinite for your good, and the infinite gives you everything wonderful in your physical world. Path 18, Chet, connecting Geburah, Mars, ruled by Samael, with Binah, Saturn, ruled by Cassiel. Thou art my portion, O Lord. I have said that I would keep thy words. I entreated thy favor with my whole heart. Be merciful unto me according to thy word. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee because of thy righteous judgments. I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. The earth, O Lord, is full of thy mercy. Teach me thy statutes. This is our first abyss path, and this is something that we're being carried across. Also, our very first time having an experience of the Divine Mother, Binah, and Saturn. Thou art my portion, O Lord. I have said that I would keep thy words. So everybody has a portion. Everybody has an inheritance. And your inheritance is the infinite. Isn't that wonderful? The wealth that you desire, the good that you desire on any level, is already with you as the infinite itself. We want the infinite to manifest as it wills. I entreated thy favor with my whole heart. Be merciful unto me according to thy word. My whole heart is my deep mind, and I have entreated your favor. I want your will for me. I know that what you want is my happiness, so I want what you want. I know that you understand things better than I do, and I'm going to listen to your will. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. So instead of making my own way, I'm going to follow the way that you guide me to. That's so that I can find my freedom. Ultimately, I don't want to be autonomous from the infinite, but I do want to be autonomous from the ego. So far, all I've had was being a slave to the ego. Now, I'm going to be a student to the infinite. Therefore, the ego has no more power over me because I've turned my feet to your ways. I'm doing what you say. Before I take a step, I'm asking. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. The ego has robbed you. It's taken everything good from you. But you've not forgotten the law, that the reason why that happened is because you didn't have your mind in the right place. But now you're being shown, you're being guided. The divine law of restitution now comes into play because what's been robbed from you can't have been taken from you because nothing can ever be taken from you. It's been earning interest. And so as that returns to you through this divine law of restitution, it comes to you and it's better than it was when it was taken from you by the ego. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee because of thy righteous judgments. So at the witching hour, I'm going to rise up and do my ceremony because of your righteous judgments. Now, you don't have to actually do a ceremony and you don't have to do this at midnight, but it's a wonderful image, especially for Binah, the dark mother, to rise up at that witching hour and receive all of the blessings from the infinite in that magical sacred ceremony. I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. Any aspect of the universe that understands that the infinite is the creator and that nothing else exists, we are kindred. And anything that doesn't look like that, I have nothing to do with. The earth, O Lord, is full of thy mercy. Teach me thy statutes. The earth is full of thy mercy. Even though we're all the way up here, we are still creating. The more that we have going on the top part of the tree, the stronger are the manifestations down here. The earth is full of thy mercy. Teach me thy statutes. The more I learn how to be guided and led and to raise my vibration higher and higher on this tree, the more things work out for me in the physical world. It's just amazing. Path 17, Zion, connecting Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Michael, and Binah, Saturn, ruled by Cassiel. Remember the word unto thy servant upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from thy law. I remembered thy judgments of old, O Lord, and have comforted myself. Horror hath taken hold upon me because of the wicked that forsake thy law. Thy statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage. I have remembered thy name, O Lord, in the night, and have kept thy law. This I had because I kept thy precepts. Remember the word upon thy servant upon which thou hast caused me to hope. The word upon thy servant is the will upon you. It's the divine design for you personally. You're taking this very personally. This is the divine design that doesn't look like anybody else's divine design, which thou hast caused me to hope. The more I see the divine design, the more faith in you I have, because I see how everything does work out. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me. Even when things haven't yet started working out in the ways that I think that I want them to, I'm not worried about it, because I've got enough evidence to support the fact that the more I do this work, the more things work out for me. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from thy law. We still succumb to listening to our ego mind, but we are so habituated now to noticing that when it happens and removing ourselves from that train of thought and turning instead to the guidance that is available to us. I remembered thy judgments of old, O Lord, and have comforted myself. The judgments of old, it's a wonderful exercise to think back, when has the infinite come through for me? When has the infinite gotten rid of something that wasn't good for me? Especially the thing that I thought I really wanted, and it turned out so good. It's always been happening, and I'm going to remember these things. I'm not going to let the ego rewrite history for me. Horror hath taken hold upon me because of the wicked that forsake thy law. The only time that you're in a sense of horror, which happens a lot when you're getting over this abyss, it's important to recognize this because this really can be scary as you go higher and higher on the tree. We'd think it would be easier, but it's actually a little bit scarier sometimes. And so it's important to realize, wait a minute, if horror is taking a hold upon me, it's because I'm listening to the ego, which is the wicked that forsake the law. The ego's got its last ditch effort here to say, no, you don't want to do that. You're going to get lost in the abyss. Careful. No. Thy statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage. Now we're high up on the pilgrimage. The statutes, meaning listening to the guidance at each and every moment, are the songs that you sing. The songs that you sing while you're on the road. while you're on this road, while you're traversing this road. You're going to listen to those guidance points that you get at every moment of time and point of space that you ask for them. And those are the songs that you sing as you're walking this road. I have remembered thy name, O Lord, in the night, and have kept thy law. When you remember the name of the Lord in the night, that's when you don't know where to go and where things don't look clear and when things are scary and you're flying on instruments because you can't see what's in front of you. But if you remember the name, meaning the qualities of the Lord, things clear up and you get right where you're going and you have no problems. So remember that the name means the quality or the nature. So for these two, the quality is life and law. This I had because I kept thy precepts. You have safety and you have resolution when you listen to the guidance that's given to you, no matter what seems to be happening in the moment, especially in those periods when it's super dark, everything seems scary. That's when you get back into listening, asking for guidance, and remembering the names of the infinite. Path 16, Vav, connects Chesed, Jupiter, and Sakiel with Chokmah, the wheel of the zodiac, ruled by Ratziel. Let thy mercies come also unto me, O Lord, even thy salvation according to thy word. So shall I have wherewith to answer him that reproach me, for I trust in thy word. And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hoped in thy judgments. So shall I keep thy law continually forever and ever, and I walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. I will speak of thy testimonies also before kings, and I will not be ashamed. And I will delight myself in thy commandments, which I have loved. My hands also will I lift up unto thy commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in thy statutes. Let thy mercies come also unto me, O Lord, even thy salvation according to thy word. The word is the will. Salvation is the solving of problems. And the mercies is also the solving of problems or the upliftment out of any kind of battle. Let this happen. I'm ready for it. I'm listening to your guidance and I'm ready for these things to happen. So shall I have wherewith to answer him that reproacheth me, for I trust in thy word. You don't have to worry about responding to the ego. The ego's going to always have a response. Some reason why you should be scared, some reason why nothing's working for you, some stupid thing that is going against the truth here. It says that you will have a way to answer that. And the way to answer that is by listening to the infinite, by listening to your guidance. And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hoped in thy judgments. This is sort of like lead us not into temptation. Lead us not into temptation means lead us away from temptation. When it says take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, it's saying put truth into my mouth. We want the infinite to bring truth to us. We want the infinite to show us and to teach us what to say and how to say it in the right way. For I have hoped in thy judgments. I have faith in your judgment. I want you to judge me. I want you to judge my words. I want you to judge my actions. I want you to judge my thoughts, my assumptions, all of it. I want to be corrected. So shall I keep thy law continually forever and ever. In the present moment, that's forever and ever. This is another happily ever after. So I shall keep thy law continually now. How do you keep the law? By listening. And when you listen, you're going to be thinking correctly. And when you're thinking correctly, then you're causing correctly. When you're causing correctly, you have correct effects. And I walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. You walk at liberty when you seek the precepts of the infinite. You thought you were walking at liberty when you were choosing against the infinite. You thought somehow you were being autonomous. You weren't. You were succumbing to the ego who had you its slave. This is when you really have freedom. This is when you really are walking at liberty, when you seek the guidance of your inner guide. The guidance of your inner guide is always going to be there for you and for your liberty and for your freedom. I will speak of thy testimonies also before kings and will not be ashamed. When you speak of the testimonies before kings, that means when you ask, how do I respond to this person in power? How do I respond to this authority figure? You'll be shown what to do. You'll be told what to do. And you won't have to worry about kings being more powerful than God anymore. And I will delight myself in thy commandments, which I have loved. I'm going to delight in listening to your guidance, and that's all I care about anymore. My hands also will I lift up unto thy commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in thy statutes. When you lift your hands up, that is a gesture of praise, but it's also a gesture that's saying, take my hands and use them. I want you to use me for your will. When I do that, then I will be happy. Not sacrifice. Sacrifice I've been doing since I've been giving the hands to the ego. But now it's no longer the ego that's getting my hands. You're getting my hands. So you do through me what you would will, and I will be happy. Path 15, Hey, connecting Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Michael, and Chokmah, the zodiac, ruled by Ratziel. Teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity, and quickly thou me in thy way. Establish thy word unto thy servant, who is devoted to thy fear. Turn away my reproach which I fear, for thy judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. So again, we are asking to be taught. Teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. So unto the end means that this is the way it is now. I'm going to be your pupil forever and ever because this is what I like. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Show me what to do. Tell me what to say. I am content going where you want me to go, doing what you want me to do, saying what you want me to say, and I know that you're going to be there with me, and you're going to guide me each and every step of the way, so I'm not worried about it. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Which path should I walk? You're going to show me, and you're only going to show me to go to the paths which bring me happiness and joy and freedom. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. To incline your heart means where I am naturally inclined to go, where my deep mind is habituated to go. I want you to incline my heart to your teachings, not to how come she gets that and how come he gets that. Covetousness is that pettiness of the ego that we are eschewing. Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity, and to quicken thou me in thy way. Sometimes it's really hard to understand when our eyes are on vanity. Vanity really is when you're using your eyes to notice how bad everything is. That's vain. The infinite made a world for you that's perfect, and instead you're going to project your own stuff onto the screen of space and create your own world. That's vanity. And this is a very important path because you're not doing that anymore. You're making the vow not to project your own ideas onto the screen of space anymore, so that the world of the Creator can be revealed to you. Establish thy word unto thy servant, who is devoted to thy fear. The servant again is the student, and the word is the will. So I want your will. I'm your student, and I'm devoted to experiencing your presence, your real presence, not an idea of you, not a concept of you, but the real you. That's the fear. I want to know you, and I want to feel you. Turn away my reproach, which I fear, for thy judgments are good. When it says, turn away my reproach, which I fear, I want to no longer identify with the things that you're going to take away from me. I don't want attachments to this world, my attachments to my ego. as those are judged and taken from me, I want to be glad that they're gone. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. This is what I've wanted all along, to raise my vibrations, to ascend. Now it's really happening. So, yay. Path 14, Dalet, connecting Binah, Saturn, ruled by Cassiel, and Chokmah, the zodiac, ruled by Ratziel. My soul cleaveth unto the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word. I have declared my ways, and thou heardest me. Teach me thy statutes. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts, so I shall talk of thy wondrous works. My soul melteth for heaviness. Strengthen me according unto thy word. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. I have chosen the way of truth. Thy judgments have I laid before me. I have struck unto thy testimonies, O Lord. Put me not to shame. I will run the way of thy commandments, when thou shalt enlarge my heart. My soul cleaveth unto the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word. When your soul cleaveth to the dust, it's that last vestiges of attachment to the world. And remember, it's not to the world that the infinite gave us, because that's always going to be there, and we want that to reveal itself. It's the old world. It's the world of the ego. We still have attachments to that, and we're recognizing that. I have declared my ways, and thou heard me. Teach me thy statutes. I know that this is happening. I understand that I'm still attached. I'm getting that, but I want you to help me. You know how, I don't know how. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts, so I shall talk of thy wondrous works. When you're talking of the wondrous works of the infinite, then you're no longer bemoaning the things of the world. You are now talking of the precepts of the infinite. You're talking of the wondrous works. If you're talking of the wondrous works, then you're talking about how fabulous everything is. You're seeing the manifestations of this work, rather than bemoaning what's not working still. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. Lying is a hard one to give up, because we're taught to lie in this world. Even those of us who think we don't lie, we do. Because the ego is a liar. The ego is based upon a lie, and this whole world is built upon lies. Remove from me the way of lying. I can't do it myself, but you can. You can do this, so remove it from me. I have chosen the way of truth. Thy judgments have I laid before me. I've chosen truth. The infinite says, yay. I'm going to show you how. I have stuck unto thy testimonies, O Lord. Put me not to shame. When it says put me not to shame, it means remove my shame from me. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You have no reason to be ashamed. I will run the way of thy commandments, when thou shalt enlarge my heart. To enlarge the heart means to open your deep mind up to the infinite, so that the infinite and your deep mind are one, and you don't have to think about it anymore. It's just the way it is now. Path 13, Gimel, connecting Tifereth, the sun, ruled by Michael, with Kether, the crown, ruled by Metatron. Deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. I am a stranger in the earth. Hide not thy commandments from me. My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgments at all times. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept thy testimonies. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate on thy statutes. Thy testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. Deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word. You're asking for bounty. You're asking for abundance. And that's your right to have. It's going to come straight down from the top. There's no dallying. It's going to fall straight from the sky into your lap. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. We're asking for true sight now. We want our inner eyes opened. We're at that point now where we get to see things as they really are with our spiritual sight, not with our physical eyes only. I am a stranger in the earth. Hide not thy commandments from me. We are in the earth, but not of it. We don't live in the earth. We live in heaven, but we experience things in the earth because that's where manifestation occurs. My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgments at all times. For your soul to break for the longing, my deep mind is cracking open even more to embrace every aspect of your will. There is no longer a separation between my deep mind and the divine design. They are at one. It's my habit now to have the divine design be where I go naturally. I don't have to think about it anymore. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. My ego's almost gone. And I didn't have to do anything except for listen, travel, and climb the tree and walk the path. You took care of the ego for me, and you're taking care of what last vestiges of it there are. Remove from me the reproach and contempt, for I have kept thy testimonies. Whatever those last vestiges of contempt or reproach, whatever that is, remove them from me. That's your function. I don't have that function. I don't know how, but you do. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Just because you're enlightened doesn't mean everybody else is, right? So it's really easy when you start finding enlightenment to get pulled back into the nonsense when you listen to other people's opinions about you or about the world or whatever it is. And those are the princes, especially the ones who seem very important to you or the ones that seem very powerful to you. But you're not listening to them anymore. You're not listening to that. You're not allowing yourself to be pulled back into that nonsense. You're going to listen to the inner guidance. Thy testimonies are also my delight and my counselors. That's your counselor. That guide, that inner guide is your counselor. Nobody else. You have within you a guide that always shows you exactly what to do. And you have proven it to yourself by this time. Path 12, Bet. Connecting Binah, Saturn, ruled by Cassiel, and Kether, the crown, ruled by Metatron. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee, O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much as in all riches. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. A young man means a young student. We still have some purification to do. And where do we do it? Same way we've been doing it this whole time, by listening to that inner guidance. With my whole heart have I sought thee, O let me not wander from thy commandments. When it's your whole heart seeking, again, this deep mind is completely one with the divine design. And so we want to stay on that. And we want to keep rededicating ourselves to that so we don't wander off again onto that ego. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. So the will of the infinite is in that secret place inside our deep mind. And so once it's in there, nothing but that can exist for us. So we don't have to worry about falling off of this anymore because we're programmed now with the divine design. Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. Same thing. No matter where we are in the tree, we have to get back to being guided and led, staying the student. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. When the infinite judges you and you allow yourself to agree, that's powerful. You just say, yeah, let's do it. What's the judgment? Yes, I agree. We're doing it. Let's do it together. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much as in all riches. Everything that you learn is more valuable than anything you could ever purchase. And at the same time, as you learn these things, riches and wonderful experiences in your physical world become plentiful for you. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. That's what you are planning now as your day. You're going to go from meditation to meditation. Every single moment of time and point of space, you are in that place of receiving the wisdom of the infinite. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. You're not going to forget the will of God because your delight is in the will of God. And that's bringing you delight in and of itself, and thus manifests in delightful ways as well. Path 11, Aleph, connecting Chokmah, the zodiac, ruled by Ratziel, with Kether, the crown, ruled by Metatron. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with whole heart. They also do no iniquity, they walk in his ways. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. O that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments. I will praise thee with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned thy righteous judgments. I will keep thy statutes. O forsake me not utterly. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. And that's who you are at your core. When you are no longer acting and responding as an ego, but you are acting and responding as a soul, that's who you truly are. And there's no way to defile the soul. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with the whole heart. At this point, that's all you do. Is your whole point of being, your whole raison d'être is about infinite will, the divine design. And the divine design and your deep mind are so much the same now that you can't have anything but perfection. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. Well, you're not going to think about iniquity anymore. You don't have to worry about that anymore because you're no longer inclined that way, because you're so habituated to asking for guidance, to being the student. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. When it says that the infinite has commanded that, that means it's taught us that. It's taught you how to do that. How do I stop being so upset? How do I stop being miserable? How do I stop having problems? Let me show you. And you learned little by little how to do this. And now you're at this point where you just keep these precepts. In other words, you listen to direction and you follow it. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Well, they are. It's the whole point. Your ways are directed. And you always know what to do. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments. You have no reason to be ashamed. And of course you respect the commandments because you're respecting that which is bringing you joy. You're respecting that which is bringing you happiness. I will praise thee with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned thy righteous judgments. This is backwards. It does this a lot. In order to learn of the righteous judgment of the infinite, you must praise with uprightness of heart. When you're praising with the uprightness of heart, you've put yourself into that learning mode where you are shown and taught. I will keep thy statutes. O forsake me not utterly. And of course, that is a poetic way of acknowledging that we are always in the right place at the right time because we are at perfect oneness with our Creator. There's no perception of separation any longer at this point. So it's easy for us to follow direction because that's the only thing that works, and we've taught that to ourselves. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to register for my free course on the Hermetic Qabalah. See the link in the video description. Blessed be.